Hello, good day, Godspeed, love, health, and inspiration to all. Welcome to Space Montrose. Make it in the USA. Today, we have a very exciting show, our first show. Never done this before. Hi, guys.
Hello.
This is Layla, my true love, my one love, my companion, my muse, my day and night. I'm pretty sure that anyone who has come to Space Montrose to visit knows a little bit about our story, about where it all began, the efforts that we put to bring to Houston, to our community, a little piece of our heart of what we try to do every day to bring some inspiration and some love to not only Houston, but to people from all over the world, because that is what Space Montrose does. It allows anyone in Houston to come and see art, talk to people, meet friends. We work in an area where there's coffee shops and restaurants and all that. So we're part of a communitary effort, and we're very proud of it. And today, as you'll see, we are bringing a new idea. Layla.
So we've been seeing some incredible efforts from the community during this time, during our quarantine. And Carlos and I also wanted to contribute the best we could. A couple nights ago, we had that moment where we got very excited about an idea. And that's where this video came about, where we decided that we want to share the artist community with you, like we do in the store when we actually can open. We just thought it'd be neat to be able to connect to the artist and to be able to you're just sorry guys, this is my first video ever doing this, so I'm kind of bad at see Carlos making all these changes. But the point of this video is actually for us to be able to speak with artists, get you inspired, hear their stories, and really just get to know the people behind Space Montrose. We have over 200 artists in the store. Tim Doyle was one of our first, and we just thought this was the perfect time to share his story with you, to the Houston community. I mean, look at this good-looking man. I mean, look at Pikachu behind him.
and yes, this is how we decided to start our first effort. Like Layla was just saying, we've seen some great creative efforts by small businesses, by different artists, people who are handcrafting, making in the USA, but are seeing these new challenges and these new changes in the way that we communicate to our audience. And having Tim Doyle with us today is starting the circle again. There's no beginning and no end, but we want to make sure that the second time that we revisit, we have learned, we are more in tune with our store, with the people that come to us. And that is why we were trying to be as focused as possible to bring Tim Doyle to show you guys a little bit of what is Space Montrose, who is Tim Doyle, and what are the next steps to come in the next couple of months. So how are you doing today, Tim?
We can't even say your name
I'm
anymore.
I'm surviving quarantine a little bit at a time.
Yes, and the family, everybody healthy and moving about, eating their veggies, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so far we're running out of a bit of fresh vegetables, but we have a grocery store pickup scheduled for Friday tomorrow, so we'll get a restock.
Nice.
Yeah, it's funny the little things you notice, like, oh yeah, you can't just run to the grocery store to pick up some spinach or a bundle of onions, but it's yeah, no, we're fine.
And inspiration still flowing? Are we going to see any new Tim Doyle works before 2020 is over?
We'll definitely see more work from me before the end of the year. Yeah, it's been hard to focus on things. It's a bunch of friends of mine are writers, and one of them had a good point. He said, "A pandemic is not a writer's retreat." So
Yeah.
it's kind of hard. Yeah, it's hard to focus and being in a creative space when everything's on fire out there. But we're settling into the new normal, and I definitely have some new stuff coming up.
Oh man, that's great to hear.
I think it's just cool right now that all the people that come into Space Montrose and get so excited about your work, they're seeing you right now, seeing your face, seeing you drink that drink you have in that glass.
It's soda.
I don't know if I believe that.
It's just soda.
Well, a very important piece for me in the Tim Doyle experience is from a famous collection that you had a couple of years back ago. It's called the Sea Also Rises.
Right.
That's the name of the collection, of course. But there was one piece that drew me in with so much power that still resonates until today for me and many people who are visitors. If they want to talk to me about Tim Doyle, I have to tell them the story of this one introduction to what opened for me the eyes to what you were making in those days. I'm going to share it here with everyone. It may not be the best
there it is.
illusion of the piece, but this beautiful work is called "The King of Crabs Claims His Throne."
Right.
The first time that I saw it, I was thinking, this is a moment. This is fire. This is warmth. This is action. This is packed with so much goodness. Every time that I would see it, I would pick up something new.
Nice.
I don't know if you've even noticed, and now I'm noticing that I can't see it here on the screen, but on the bottom right, there's a little girl that is walking a corgi dog.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but today corgi dogs sell like very little other thing in the industry.
Yeah, and the crafts. It used to be put a bird on it. Now it's put a corgi on it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's so that dog in that drawing there is actually my friend Nick Darrington and Tanya Darrington. It's their dog X1, who has since passed away.
Oh.
But I mean, that drawing is over 10 years old at this point. I think I did that in 2009 when I looked it up. X1, he was a corgi, and I just thought his butt was hilarious. So I drew the corgi in there. And I think they got that dog because they're inspired by Ein from Cowboy Bebop. So it has the same coloration as Ein. But yeah, X1 was a great dog. And what's funny is that now I have a corgi years later. But I inherited this corgi, Maxie, from my friend, illustrator Bernie Wrightson. When he passed away, his wife gave me his corgi. So
yeah, the King of Crabs is still talking to us today. There's still messages in it. I don't know where Tim Doyle was on the creative process in 2009, 2010, but 2012 was just around the corner. So there was a lot of talk about this moment. This is going to be physical. Is it going to be spiritual? But that piece came in the time where that was happening. Actually, the King of Crabs is holding a sign about saving the earth, and then there's all this destruction and happening. So maybe that was part of the thought process of where we are, what are our responsibilities, how should we see supernatural phenomena, should we be ready and prepared.
That whole series of The Sea Also Rises is all kind of inspired out of existential angst about global warming, and then the polar ice caps melting and the sea levels rising and things that were in the ocean coming into our urban spaces. That's the second piece in the series. The first piece was the subway squid. It's the 14th Street subway squid, or 14th Street squid, I think is what it's called. It's been a while. But yeah, I've been working on that, picking away at those ideas since 2009. And here we are over a decade later, and it's still a very pressing concern that has not been addressed in any meaningful way. But
we have an important day coming out, or coming in the next couple of days. Is Earth Day. It's going to be on March 22nd, 2020. That's
right.
4/22, which is 4, 2020, which is 4. I'm all about that resonance, about that consciousness and calendar reality, let's say. So I'm very, very forward looking to this positive, because I see the positive. I think that Earth Day, at this moment where we are, 444 is a great moment for us. I can see a lot of positive changes and a good break that we need coming.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting.
Excuse me, guys.
It's going to be an interesting year. Oh, that's fine. If my children come into frame, that's because the house is on fire, but they're here too.
I'm pretty sure that everybody would understand the young ones coming in with their inspiration.
Yeah. Working from home has been. It's interesting watching everybody get used to working from home, because as a freelance illustrator and a lot of my friends in the comic book industry, and people who do what I do, all of us work from home. So it's interesting watching everybody else adapt to that. But the change being, of course, that you have to work from home. So that kind of changes the tenor of the environment. It's like, oh yeah, I'm working from home today, as opposed to I legally am obligated to work from home today. It's a slightly different line in the sand. So that Sea Also Rises series, originally it started because I wanted to draw a train wreck. I wanted just the idea of that, like, unstoppable force meeting an immovable object and the physicality of it. And so that's why I drew that subway squid. Because I thought originally my idea was to have an elephant like headbutting a train and having the train go all over the place. I thought, well, an elephant's not funny enough. And but a giant squid, now that's crazy, and you get all the arms and the action. So I really thought of the physicality of it before I thought of any message. I'm a big fan of, I'm sure you can tell, big comic book nerd. I really like big action scenes and the intricacies you can get with detail. There's a comic book artist, Jeff Darrow, who was very inspirational to me. So that's kind of where that stuff started, that series of prints started. But obviously it's gone in a wildly different direction. This all the way up through the exodus of Turtle Town with the girl on the back of the turtle, and the northbound whale with the whale as a subway, or as a bus, public transit, in the canals of Midtown. It's all kind of like these weird, melancholy, but magical realism kind of environments. I don't know. It's just, that series is very personal to me because it's just whatever I want to draw at the time.
Yes.
So I wanted to get back to the beginning days of when we met you, and why Carlos and I had decided that when we were going to start this video that you had to be the first one. You really do mean so much to us. You gave Carlos and I a chance when we first started, and honestly, I don't know if you know this, but Space Montrose really was never intended to be something that Carlos and I did for a living. It was a passion project that we just wanted to have for Houston. So we did everything we could just to keep the store going. And we had other jobs at the time. When we met you, Carlos and I both were, we were working in healthcare, and the goal at the end of the month wasn't for us to make a profit off of Space Montrose, but yes, we have another month where we can keep the doors open for Houston and share art. And you were actually the first big artist in Space Montrose, and we found you at I think at a Renegade festival. We're not 100% sure. It may have been Renegade. It may have been a search online. I know that's when we first met you.
Right. Yeah, I remember you guys coming through my booth at a Renegade Craft Fair very early on. What year was that? What year did you guys start?
It was probably well, we started Space in 2010.
So it had to be.
Okay. But I think it was 2011, and Carlos, he's very good at writing beautiful emails, and he wrote you an email, and I remember him and I both were just like, oh my gosh, Tim Doyle said yes, he's gonna work with us, and you sent us like 4 change into a truck posters, and do you remember that?
Oh yeah. It's funny. I'm very flattered because that was definitely early on in my career, and there it is. I see it popping up in the background. Yeah, it was very early on in my career, so the idea that anybody would have been impressed to be working with me a decade ago is really flattering. Thank you. It's the hype of the internet. It can make people seem taller than they really are.
Well, I think that piece, Carlos and I were just in love with it, and we were so proud, and we had these wooden cubes at Space Montrose that were just a little area where we could display something. And I mean, we really didn't know how to display things at the time, and we had these cubes, and we had your piece in the window, and people started coming in, and they'd go, well, I want that piece. And every single time we'd sell one, because one of us would be at our other job, we'd call each other and we'd go, Carlos, you won't believe it, I sold a change into a truck. And then he'd call me, Layla, I sold another one. And it was like that moment of, oh my gosh, this business of having this store for artists actually could be something we do for a living, that we could actually share art. And I just think that was a big moment for us, where we realized that Space could be something more for the city, and people wanted to see artists like you. It was a cool moment.
That's great. That makes me happy. Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and unlike a lot of other poster artists that do what I do, I keep a lot of my work in print, which enables me to keep stores like Space Montrose, and we deal with shops all over the world at this point, and we're able to keep them full of inventory and selling to their customers, and like it's the symbiotic relationship that just like perpetuates art throughout the planet, and it makes me very happy, and it keeps you and me paying our bills, which is kind of a minor miracle.
It really is.
So where that's kind of where Space Montrose was in 2010, 2011. We were dreaming of a business. We were thinking about how we can connect with a network of a community in Houston and try to leave the medical industry, because there was a lot of pain and suffering and death.
Well, we were working in hospice. It was difficult.
Oh.
So we were.
I have friends who do that. It's a difficult but necessary.
It's
job.
a high quality.
Absolutely.
But it does take a toll. So it's good to after doing it for a while, take a breather and try to see what you learn from it and how can you apply it to how we saw a more creative birth of an idea, universal connection through the mind and the hand type of process. And that's where we were in 2010. How can we get artists to get excited with what we want to do, how we want to share it with Houston, and have a place for people to come and visit. Where was Tim Doyle in 2010, 11? How many years had you been doing that for? And how? A little bit about those years.
You were on celebrity status for us, so I don't believe you just began.
I tell people, I'm not that big. I'm not that big of a deal, but it's great that other people think I am. Very flattering. So for 2005 to 2009, I ran Mondo for the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema here in town, and I kind of created the business. It was already existing for a couple months when I took it over, and I developed the poster series along with a couple other people, and we hired artists, and so I got to know production and how things were done, and how to prepare your files, and I started making prints for Mondo myself, and I realized this is really what I want to do. I don't want to run somebody else's business for them. I want to make it as an artist. So in January 2009, we launched Nakatomi, and I've been doing it, I guess in 2011, I've been doing it for a couple of years at that point. And it just kind of took off from there. We built a print shop in my little one-car garage, me and artist Clint Wilson, and Clint taught me how to screen print, and it just took off. And the thing is, once you own a print shop, your friends who are artists all want you to print their stuff, and then you get bigger clients and bigger clients. And now we moved up into a warehouse space in late 2011, probably December 2011. So we've been in this warehouse now for 9 years, and we share space with another screen print shop, so we kind of pool our resources. But yeah, now we print for Metallica. We just did a tour poster series for Lumineers. I got to work with Weird Al last year.
Nice.
So yeah, it's been a crazy ride, man. I'm really lucky. There's a lot of lucky breaks. People. It's always funny when I talk to people and I go, "Oh, you're a great business person." It's like, I'm making up as I go. I have no idea what I'm doing from one moment to the next. I'm just prepared and ready for when opportunity knocks. You just have to be ready, and that's where I've been. But yeah, so when you guys approached me, I'd only, I think, been selling in a couple other shops locally here, like Parts and Labor here in Austin, and we knew the consignment artist market was really robust, but you just had to find trustworthy people to work with, because I'd send stuff to some shops and you just never hear back from them. You never get a check and they go out of business and you just lose that inventory. But working with you two has been, very great. The checks arrive on time every month. There's never a problem. You guys keep it stocked and keep it shelved properly. And it's as an artist, that's all you can ask for, and it's amazing when you find it. Like have people that actually care and do a good job, and realize that it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not a one-sided thing.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you didn't put that trust in us not a few years ago, over 10 years ago, I really don't even know where Space would be today. Honestly, I just really feel like you were the catalyst for us to be inspired, and I don't know, it just kept us going. And after you, we actually worked with Graham Franchois, which we'll probably end up doing an interview with him too. I don't know if you know him, but I don't even think Graham would have said yes if we didn't work with Tim Doyle. I think it was that I was like, well, we work with Tim Doyle. Do you want to work with us? And because it was another Austin artist, I felt like he had trust in us because of that, and it just opened up the door for us to work with so many different incredible artists in Texas.
Nice.
You were just mentioning about the beginning years and how your warehouse came about, your first printing job, and learning about the industry. And I wanted to touch a little bit more on that point, because part of what we're trying to do with this podcast or video series is not only introduce our exhibitors, our artists like you and 200 plus that we have in the store. We want to talk to the other small business owners like yourself and other stores. We have ideas of where this could go. We're very excited about it. But at the same time, we also want to do a little bit of information, education about the industry. And one of the questions that we get in our store when it comes to Tim Doyle and some of the screen prints that we have in the store is, what is the screen printing process? What does it mean? What am I seeing here, and how was it made?
Right.
So I had prepared a couple of images, and we can talk a little bit about how it relates to you in particular, if I'm missing something. But I thought that it was very important to show people that to make a screen print, you first of all need a silk screen.
Right.
Let me see if I can bring it up here in my super amazing technology.
So it's a very
Here we go.
very tight shot of a screen. Yeah, like I don't know how close that is.
I'm about to show another image that shows from farther out, but this is a very detailed close-up of what a silk screen is. And what's going to happen is whatever image that you draw or photograph that you take, you can print negatively on a silk screen, and the ink goes through the holes and it stays on the parts, on the sections where there's no hole. So that's how you create that layer. I know that this is sounding a little bit, yes.
I've had to explain this a lot over the years. So essentially what you're making is a series of stencils. You do a drawing, and what I do, I color it in Photoshop, and each color is on its own layer. And then when you stack those layers together, boop, you get an image. Yeah, like that image you have there. So you're making a stencil. You print the film, which is your positive, and so it'll look just like you're drawing. And then you burn it onto a screen using photo emulsion. Yeah, like that image there. And so then you make your negative, and of all the light colors in there, that's where the ink would pass through. And the dark purple is photo emulsion that gets baked onto the screen. And so you put the ink on the screen, you use a squeegee to pull, and it forces the ink through the screen onto the paper below. And that's one color. And so let's say you're doing a run of 100 posters. You do that 100 times, let it dry, set up the next screen. That's a good press. I think that's a Cameo there. No? What is that? Yeah, I'm not quite sure what press that is, but that's a good example. So you load your screen into that there, and then squeegee forces the ink through, and you just repeat the process until the print's done. And it's
how long does it take to make 100 posters? I mean, what is the timeline for that?
Well, in 2009 when I started, it would take a very long time. But now we have it down to a science. I've been at it for over a decade at this point. We could do a run of, let's say 300 posters that are 5 colors. We can do those in like 3 days.
Wow.
Yeah, but we, like I said, we have a full-fledged shop, and it's not necessarily working out of our house anymore. So we have access to bigger equipment, faster equipment. So
I saw this image in looking into the process of the of screen printing, and at some point you need to wash with pressure so that the film falls off, right? Like this, what we're seeing in the image is a silk screen at the far end of the box. So you would water this down in order to reveal the section that is going to allow the ink to go through, and the other part is not going, of course, not going to go, not fall off with the water pressure.
Right. What you're looking at there is probably the end of the process when the screen gets washed out, because so there's no image on the screen. The light is coming through. Yeah, it's a washout booth. So what you would do, you burn the screen, which makes the stencil, and you use a pressure hose to knock out everything that wasn't burned onto the screen. And then you print your film, you print your color on the paper, and then when you're done with that screen, you coat it with another chemical that eats away at that emulsion, and then use a pressure washer to knock it all out, so then you reuse your screen. So there's a misconception a lot of people have, is that we burn our screens and we keep them. No, you use them for one run of prints, then you wash them out and you move on to the next job. So we don't have like a giant library of screens sitting there for every print I've ever done for the last decade. We need a warehouse just for that. So yeah, they're able to reuse over and over again, at least until they rip, which happens because it is a fabric. And then we just have to restretch the fabric, the silk. It's actually like a polyester mesh. It's no longer silk. Oh yeah, so that's that image there is the original drawing I did for that Blade Runner piece, which I think you guys have.
Where everything starts.
Yeah, so that's
for
the line art
piece. And in our store, we've sold maybe 2 or 3 over the years. And when it comes to a Tim Doyle connoisseur, someone who has purchased prints in the past, when they see a line drawing like this, and they actually get to see a little bit of the mistakes where Tim Doyle erased this line and changed this thing here and there to make the final piece, it's for a person who enjoys your work, seeing this and being able to keep one of the original works is it's a treat for a day. But yeah, so this is where everything starts. You do a sketch, a line drawing of what the final image will be, and then you start adding different layers of color to the emulsion of this original piece, right?
Yeah, so what I'll do is, that's the original line art. I draw it in pencil, and then I go back over top with ink to finish it out, and then I scan that so that I take it into Photoshop on my PC, and then do the coloring in Photoshop, separate it out for screen printing. So that piece I think is like a 6-color when it's all finished, and so each layer is its own color. And with the stacking of all those layers, you get overlays. Like if you put a blue on top of a yellow, you're going to get a green, that kind of thing. So like my background in working with watercolor really helps with that too. So just understanding how the colors interact. Yeah, so like the finished piece, like I don't know if you have an image of that, but the finished piece is really like a vibrant, rich, full color image.
I should
We
have
don't have
brought a finalized piece. The finalized piece that I had prepared for us today was our King of Crabs, where, if I'm not wrong, the black lines are the last layer to go in to hold everything together, right?
Yeah, you usually work from lightest to darkest. But the first color down on that one was actually the blue, and then the yellow goes on top of the blue, and anywhere you see that's green on that print is the yellow ink overlaying the blue.
Wow.
Then there's that kind of orangey red that goes on top, and where it overlays the yellow, it makes it more orange. Where it overlays the blue, it makes it purple. And then one trick that was taught to me by an artist years ago, and I've been using it ever since, is to use a transparent black layer, where you take a bunch of transparent base, which is clear ink, and you put a little bit of black in there. And so you can print that over top of all the previous colors. So you get like a shadow layer for each color. So you get blue and shadow blue, red and shadow red. And so it multiplies the effect and just makes the piece a lot richer and deeper. And then just to close it all up at the end, I'll print the black line at the end. Sometimes, if I have a piece now, I've gotten more complicated in my process. If I have a piece now that I want to have some lighting effects, I'll print a transparent white over top of the line art to have shafts of light coming in from over top that overlay and interfere with the line art and kind of gives it more depth and richness. But yeah, it's a fun process, and I've been really enjoying seeing my own progress over the years. Some people have far surpassed me, obviously, but I just it's a fun hands-on process. You never know what's going to come out the other end. So.
We've seen throughout the years. We've been doing what we do for about 11. We've seen so many different artists with such great talent. What it's nice about finding an artist like Tim Doyle is that you have found your mood, your tone, your color hues. So when we're looking at one of my favorite series of you right now is your Unreal Estates. I think you've been trying to release them maybe once a year. Maybe it's the 4th or 5th series that has been put out.
6th, actually. We've been doing this. I've had 6 shows at Spoke Art Gallery
in San Francisco, right?
They have one in San Francisco and one in New York. And the first one was in 2012. So we don't do it every year, but we probably had our last show. But I'll still continue to release pieces in that series. It's because Spoke Art's moved on to other things, and there's only so many pieces people can buy sometimes. If somebody's a Tim Doyle Unreal Estate fan, they might have 20, 30 pieces. They're out of wall space.
So, right.
We have to rotate them.
You're right.
So what is what's the next plan for you once you can leave your house? What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna go vote.
You're gonna go vote? Yes, that is important.
Any on real estate? Oh, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Oh no, I mean, there's I just keep releasing pieces. We've been doing a lot of work with bands. Like I mentioned earlier, if Metallica goes back on tour, we'll be doing their posters for the North American tour series. It's been for my industry, a very strange month because all the tours are canceled.
Yes.
All the income everybody was expecting to make off of these large tours and the printing and South by Southwest and festivals and conventions, it's all just suddenly poof gone. So we're going to be releasing a lot more, personal projects and artist prints. We've been working with Bernie Wrightson's estate for the last several years. We'll have more work from him, and it's going to be interesting finding our way through. But bands will go back on tour again, and they'll need posters again. So
I think we just need to get through these times, and continue like we're doing, and just taking care of ourselves, taking care of our families, our community the best we can, and and things will get back to normal. And we definitely need our concerts and our art and just what we all miss. I think it is nice being home. We have our 2 boys with us, but we are excited to get back to normality soon, and I think we all will.
Well, Tim, we want to thank you again for joining us today, for giving us the opportunity to present you to maybe thousands of new people, people that hopefully are going to come visit us in our store and in our channel as new interviews and new interviews come out. For now, we want everybody to know that as this video comes out, all the portfolio that we have of Tim Doyle in our store will be available online. But also, if you would like to tell us and tell everyone where they can go to find not only what Space Montrose has available, but some other of your new works.
So my company, Nakatomi, named after the building in Die Hard, Nakatomi Inc. .com is the retail website. You can find my portfolio and links directly to the store on timdoyle.com, which I just redesigned with me and my friend Nathan Beach. So yeah, timdoyle.com. You'll get to me, hit the store link, goes right to the store page. But yeah, if you're in the Houston area or traveling to Houston, I definitely recommend going to Space Montrose. They're great people. They're good people. They take care of their artists, which is really the biggest endorsement I can give. I do have one question.
Tell us.
Carlos, what's your favorite Jodorowsky movie? You're wearing the shirt.
I have El Topo, and The Holy Mountain is a must. If you need to understand a couple of the layers of the onion, that is a must-see. Very recommended.
Holy Mountain is fantastic. It's an amazing film. Yeah.
Sir.
Good stuff.
Can't wait to see a Tim Doyle Holy Mountain piece one day.
I've thought about it. Man, that film it's like pouring electricity right into your eyeballs.
Well, we just gave you something to work on right now, okay?
I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but I need to order it up on Amazon so I can watch it again. Last time I saw it was in the theater. So
okay.
Yeah. It's so good. It's a insane work of art. Love it.
Yeah, it is.
Babe, anything you want to add to the conversation today?
No, just that thank you for listening. Thank you, Tim Doyle. We're very, very excited about this opportunity to share your work with our community. And yeah, just keep safe, everybody. And, we will see you very soon.
Awesome. It's great talking to you all.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks. Take care.